Hi, Danielle Kassin. I wanted to share a story with you. It's actually based on a true story. Once upon a time, there was a boy named Ben, and Ben was 12 years old. He lived with both of his parents, and unfortunately, his father passed away. And one of the things that he absolutely loved to do with his father is walk to shul every morning. And they walked to shul, they lived back east, and so they walked to shul when it was snowing, when it was raining, when it was humid. There was actually seasons where he lived, and they walked, and it was a really special time for him. So he decided to keep that tradition up, and every day he'd get up early before school and walk to shul. There was a man at shul named Yaakov, and Yaakov was a friend of his father's and a friend to him. And he asked one day, Yaakov went to Ben and said, I live really close to your house. In fact, I live on the way to your house to shul, and I'd love to walk you to shul each morning. And Ben agreed and said that would be great. And so they started, and almost 2 years went by that they walked every single day together. Yaakov would come, knock at his door, and they would walk together to shul. Now, many years had passed, and both Ben and Yaakov had kept in touch. And it was the time that Ben actually got married and had a son of his own. And it was the time for his son's bar mitzvah. And Ben wanted to bring his son back to the shul that he'd grown up at. And so he thought of Yaakov at that time, and he wanted to invite Yaakov to his son's bar mitzvah. So he called Yaakov. Yaakov was delighted to hear his voice. Ben was happy to hear Yaakov, and he said, I'd love to have you come to my son's bar mitzvah. And Yaakov hesitated for 1 second, not because he didn't want to come, but because he was older now, and he wasn't able to walk as good as he was when he was younger. And so he didn't want to put Ben out, but he wanted to let him know that he would love to be there, but he probably wasn't able to get there. And so Ben said, no problem, without hesitation, I'd love to come pick you up. And Ben stopped at that moment because he realized that in all the years that he had known Yaakov, he never actually knew where he lived. And when Yaakov gave him the address, Ben started to cry because he realized that not only did Yaakov not live in his way to pick up Ben all those mornings, but he lived completely out of his way. And Yaakov would go every single morning out of his way to walk with Ben. And this story to me is so special because one of the things I've been told is that doing good deeds is very important. And sometimes doing good deeds, and sometimes the most extraordinary deeds that you do, are ones that are much more difficult and out of your way. And especially during this time where we're finding it harder to connect to people and finding new creative ways to connect to people, I thought we could use this story to help us connect. Wishing you a beautiful evening.